Hello, everyone. Welcome to this open session. We are here to share, to learn about it from each other, and especially to celebrate Verdes, one of our communities from Costa Rica, Monteverde. This is it's a community. All the communities are really close to our hearts. This is really close to my home also, which is fantastic. And it's wonderful to see how Verdes have been evolving the last year. We're going to hear from Irene and Janelle, who are they both are part of Verdes team and based in Monteverde, Costa Rica. So first, before starting let's do a quick checking round. Just say your name, where are you, and how you're feeling today. As short, as quick as you can do it. So I'm Carla. I'm in Manuel Antonio, Costa Rica, Pacific Coast. And I'm really pumped and happy to see you all. And I pass it on to Irene.
Hi, hello. I'm Irene. I'm in Monteverde, Costa Rica, and I'm feeling pretty nervous right now because I have to talk a lot. But I'm also super happy to be here and meet with all of you. And I'm passing to Karin.
Hi, I'm Karin. I'm coming to you from the southern tip of Africa in a town called Uitenhage in the Eastern Cape in South Africa. And I love Irene's glasses as always. I am passing on to Enrique.
Hey everyone, I'm Enrique. I'm talking to you through a messy room here, as you can see by the Christmas tree back there, from the south of Brazil. And I'm feeling pretty good, pretty curious about Verdes. And I'll pass it to Victor.
Hey everyone, I'm Victor. I'm talking from Miami, but I'm originally from Brazil, and I'm one of the partners from Play for Change, which we are working with Cambiatus. I'm really happy to be here and excited. It's an amazing day. I already did my exercise, so I'm ready for it. And looking forward to hear about Verdes too and learn what you guys are up to. And I pass to Janelle.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I haven't spoken very much yet this morning. I'm here in Monteverde, igual que Irene, and it's hard for me to get my languages straight here. I'll get it straight in a minute. I'm just waking up, I guess. Maybe that's how I feel. Anyway, I'm really happy to be here. I'm originally from the United States, but I've lived here in Costa Rica now for over 20 years, and really excited to share some stuff about Verdes. So I pass to Thomas.
Hi, I'm Thomas. I'm based in London, and I work with the Agaville community in Ethiopia. I'm super excited to hear about Verdes. It'll be the first time I've heard about directly from one of Cambiatus currencies, apart from via Carla. So I'm really excited to hear what you have to say today. And I pass to Julian.
Luca, are you there? Not sure.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Oh, okay, Zoom. Okay. Thank you, Thomas. Hey, everyone. My name is Luca, or Julian, my first name. Glad to be here. I work at Cambiatus, developing stuff, developing currencies, and really excited. I mean, when I saw the calendar event, I was like, oh, it's an open session from Verdes. Should be super awesome. So good luck, Irene. And I pass on to no one, right? Or are you missing Carla? Huh.
No, we are full circle now. Before starting, thank you, Luca. Just a quick celebration, because yesterday Enrique and Luca did a fantastic work, and now we have a new release, new exciting things coming to the app, including the news feature and the first steps for the next roles and permissions that we are going to have in the following months. A lot of tweaking and beautifying, better forms, thanks to Enrique. What else I'm missing that is coming? That's it, right?
Yeah, I think that's
We
pretty
also-
much it.
We also have one that I think some users will love, that we now have emails. So stuff that happens in community will be communicated by email. A lot of folks use email. I'm one of those folks. I love using email. It's a fantastic tool. It's super easy to organize. So I'm glad that Cambiatus is starting to email all their stuff too. So nice.
When something cool happened in the app, or you did something or got some coins from someone, you will get that notification on the email, which is cool, to remind people to go to the app. So fantastic. That's our new release, launched yesterday. You all have it on the app already. And the mic is gone for Irene, please. Tell us about that.
Thank you. Yes, I guess, well, I introduce myself a little bit more, and then Janelle is going to introduce herself as well, and she is going to be the first talking about how the currency started here in Monteverde, because actually I didn't start, but Janelle was one of the persons that was there. So yeah, well, my name is Irene, as I said before. I'm originally from San Jose, the capital of Costa Rica, but I have been living here in Monteverde for over a year and a half. And somehow I end up being the coordinator of Verdes, the local currency. And it's really interesting because when I arrived here at the beginning of the pandemic, I was talking with my husband about how I don't know, I was really like moved by all the people that was struggling economically because of the pandemic. And for me, it was really interesting to find out that Monteverde was trying to do something to help the people that didn't have a lot of colones, traditional currency. So that's why I got involved with Verdes. I started volunteering with the previous coordinator, and then somehow I end up being the coordinator. And yeah, that's why I'm here. And now Janelle can introduce herself, and she's going to talk more about the beginning of the currency, and then I'm going to talk about what we have been doing the past year. We're celebrating today. So Janelle.
May I say something before that? Quickly?
Yeah.
Just quickly. Janelle and Irene are going to share a little bit about Verdes. If you want to ask anything, you can raise your hand, use the chat at any time, feel good. And I'm also say something about Irene because she's so humble. She never say anything about herself. So she's a journalist, she's a fantastic writer, activist in really different topics, from animal well-being to reuse of clothing, or let's say conscious fashion. And we have known each other since whatever. Since I want to say since we both were teenagers, but not so true. She was a teenager, I was already old, but we are friends since then. And Janelle is going to introduce herself, but she is a fantastic leader in Monteverde. She was also running one of the oldest and most well-recognized environmental organizations there. And I'm happy. We are really proud of having them both as leaders in one of our communities. Janelle.
Thanks, Carla. That's a lot to live up with. So what can I say? When I don't know if you know much about Monteverde, but when the pandemic hit, probably 90% of our economy shut down. We're based completely on tourism up here. And of course, they closed the borders of Costa Rica. That meant that there were no international tourists. And of course, because of driving restrictions, everything else, there were either no national tourists. So we were in a world of hurt. So there was a call that went out just in general to community leaders, to organizations, to say, what can we do? And what was formed was an organization that we referred to as Enlace, which means network or weaving together, just a way of communicating and working together. And a lot of people responded to that. And there were 5 different committees that were formed, but one of the committees that was formed was called Circular Economy. and from circular economy, where we tried to support local producers to see what kinds of things we could do to support people in our community. A branch of that, which was considered kind of, well, it was called alternative economies. And so not only were we looking at what more people knew a little bit about, a circular economy, we were open to anything because we were desperate. And it doesn't seem like this should be something that comes out of something that a desperate situation, but it did, and it really helped us. So alternative economies, the committee that started talking about what else can we do? Where else can we look? What other things can we do to help our community? And it's serendipitous because one person in that community knew Carla and knew about Cambiatus. It's just like our coordinator now, Irene and Carla, knew each other when they were teenagers. I mean, it's crazy, but sometimes those kinds of things work. And when they work, that also tells you something about what you should continue looking at and following. And that's kind of what we did. So we talked about alternative economies, and I didn't have the slightest idea what that meant or what we were going to do. But when we found that there was a platform that worked for people, in order to be able to do this, we went, okay, this is the way we're going to go. And the fact that Cambiatus taught us, trained us, helped us co-design, helped us form what we wanted to do as far as values, because values were very important in this community. And so we wanted to create a currency that not only helped with the economy and circulating and making it easier for people to buy local produce, but if they didn't have any money, which they didn't, what else could they do to earn a currency or to earn something? And that's where we set up a bunch of kinds of things that said, if you volunteer for a local organization, you can earn Verdes. If you walk to work instead of taking a car, you can earn Verdes. If you compost at home, you can earn Verdes. So the things that as a community, we are environmentally and sustainably conscious, we wanted to support those kinds of values too. So that's where the idea came from. That's what sort of how it grew. And it grew pretty exponentially very quickly, which created challenges, but we continued to work through a lot of those. And I think that people very quickly, faster than we were almost able to deal with the exponential growth, looked at the alternative and came to the alternative. And since then, we've been working at kinks, and the dynamic growth has sort of leveled off, but the learning is continuing to go really high quickly. So that's a bit of history. I don't know if you have any specific sort of questions or want to just hear more about where we are now.
Could you give us a couple of numbers? What growing exponentially means to Verdes?
So we're a population of about 6,000 people up here, and that includes not just the nuclear community, but several villages around the area. So population-wise, we're very small. We have, in much less than a year, probably within 6 months of starting Verdes, we have 2,700 participants. So we have almost 50% of the population that are enrolled as participants in Verdes. That's pretty incredible, I think. And in terms of the kinds of transactions, we've had close to, well, it's 4,700, 4,800 sorts of transactions, which represent close to between $49,000 and $50,000 of circulation of goods and services, just on the platform, which doesn't include some of the other kinds of exchanges, of course, that might have gone on outside of at the markets and those kinds of things, perhaps, where there was even more interchange of things.
Fantastic, thank you. Any other question until here? Good. Okay, let's move to Irene.
Thank you. Well, yes, and then what happened is the previous coordinator, Kelly, well, I was volunteering with her and Janelle, and she had some family issues, so she had to stop working full-time with Verdes. So she asked me if I wanted to be part of it and try to administrate a little bit what was happening. So that's how I end up being the coordinator. And at the beginning, we were having every 15 days, we were having these Verdes fairs, ferias, where people could go and exchange Verdes for 100% Verdes, right? Products, services, homemade stuff, secondhand stuff. So at the beginning, it was really successful. But then when the government allowed the tourism to come back, Verdes at some level wasn't that necessary, right? So that is one of the challenges, but we're having right now, because people is not using Verdes that much. Is still in circulation, of course. There's people that is still using it, which is super nice, and there's people that really believes in the project. But as a local currency works, it changes with the community. So right now, the community might not need Verdes that much like it was at the beginning of the pandemic. But anyway, we decided to keep going with the fairs, but right now we are doing it once a month instead of every 15 days. And we are inviting people to exchange whatever they have at home, not necessarily small businesses, but people who, I don't know, is growing bananas in their backyard, for example, or if they have something at home that they don't need, they can take it to the feria and exchange it, right? So we're trying to make these 100% ferias once a month, but also we realize because it's a complementary currency, it's not here to replace our traditional currency. We realize we need a space where we can exchange colones and verdes at the same time. And that's why we are also trying to create a space in the community garden where people can sell their stuff with colones, but using as minimum 10% of verdes. So people will always have the possibility to use verdes, but the producers can obtain colones as well, because of course, verdes just have 1 year in circulation. So there's not a lot of places like local businesses where you can exchange verdes, but there's a lot of small businesses or informal workers that are making stuff at their homes that are accepting verdes. So that's why we're like keeping this 100% verdes ferias once a month, but at the same time, we're having now in March, we're starting with the other feria, which is going to be a combination with colones and verdes. And it's really cool because we will be having workshops in the community garden as well, and people can earn verdes while participating on the workshops. So there's going to be like people earning verdes by learning stuff about sustainability. And at the same time, there's going to be people selling stuff and accepting verdes. So it's going to be a really cool space. And we want to have music and art and a lot of stuff happening. So it's not going to be just a feria, but I don't know, get together with that community somehow. And also, because we have a lot of small producers, small scale producers. So we're trying to create a community kitchen as well, because there's people producing stuff, but they don't, in their houses, they don't meet the health department requirements. So with a community kitchen that meet those requirements, people will be able to create their stuff to cook, I don't know, homemade pastries or bread or whatever they want to do, but in a community kitchen that is meeting those requirements. So the health department, it's okay with them selling them at the feria. And yeah, that's what's happening right now. And I want to share with you our Instagram. I was thinking about making a presentation, but I guess our Instagram has like the curated content I wanted to show you anyway. So
Irene,
yeah,
while you're looking for that, any comments before questions? I think Irene shared a lot of like key points of Verde that are really interesting. One is that they are mixing environmental values, the idea of protecting and reusing and recycling and reducing, which is really strong in the Monteverde community. They are surrounded by the most beautiful cloud forests, one of a beautiful ecosystem here in Costa Rica. They are mixing that with promoting the local consumption, right? Promoting the local economy. I think that's fantastic. And also having the virtual part in the app, they are also interfacing with physical in-person activities, the market. Actually, the Verdes fair that Irene was saying inspired the Angel market. And I want to welcome Mahi there. She joined after the starting of the session. She's from Ethiopia, from the community in there. And they are also doing a market inspired by Verdes. Please go.
Okay. So yeah, well, we have like those three things happening, like the once a month feria, the feria, the community garden, or the get together at the community garden, which is going to be at the beginning every 15 days, every other week. And then we are trying to manage the community kitchen with other organizations here in Monteverde. It's not just us doing it. And we also are trying to encourage another actions, like not just around climate change, but we are really blessed about living in Monteverde, because an interesting fact about Monteverde is that we have a lot of academic tourism. That means we have a lot of students coming, sorry, students coming and working with community organizations. So since the beginning of the launch of Verdes, we were having students coming and helping us because they need like I don't know, they have courses. A lot of them are, I think all of them are from the States. They're coming to Monteverde or working with us virtually, and they're helping us to develop stuff that maybe we don't have the time to do, because of course I'm working with Verdes, but I have my other jobs, right? So it's really helpful to have people working with us. So for example, on November, we had a group from this university, I don't remember the name, is Field Studies something. They came here to help us doing surveys on neighborhoods that are not that close where we're at, and they asked people if they knew Verdes or if they wanted to participate, where are their needs. So it was really interesting, because in this and the results, they gave us, there's a lot of older people, or maybe people that works a lot of hours in their days and they have to attend their families after the working hours. So it was really interesting because there's a lot of people that does not have the time to do volunteering, or they cannot go walking at their jobs. So we needed to start thinking about smaller actions they could take, but not doing volunteering, right? So these students make this investigation, and now we're working with another students from Polytechnical University in Massachusetts, and among other things, these students are helping us to create actions, smaller actions that people can make, and it's not going to take a lot of their time. So for example, one of the actions is picking up like 5 pieces of trash from the street. And that way they could earn Verdes. So this is another step we're taking in a few months, or maybe next month. We have to work in creating those smaller actions so people can earn Verdes, but doing stuff in their own street. They don't have to travel to, I don't know, an institution and do volunteering, or to a river or whatever, right? So that's going to be super cool. And also, this is like some pictures from not the last feria, but the one before. Here we have the Sherylworth logo, because I'm really grateful they help us. And this is the place we're making the feria. This is one of the, she has an art school and she's accepting Verdes in the art school, but Pamela is here like buying bread at the feria, the monthly feria. And as you can see, we have, for example, second-hand stuff. This is vintage forks and spoons they have there somehow. And we have people selling bread. This is homemade kombucha. This is brownies, lettuce. So we have...
You're making us hungry now. There. We need to go.
Yeah, we have a lot of... a variety of stuff, I must say, happening. This is Janelle selling ceramics pottery, if you want to order from her. And we had, in this video, we had art happening while we were doing it. It's usually really small ferias. It's not a lot of people going right now, but I think it's beautiful because we know there's people that still believes in the project. Maybe they have a lot of Verdes and they don't have a lot of places to exchange them right now, but they still believe it's making a change. And that's why I'm trying to recruit. I don't know if that word is the correct one, but like smaller businesses that are accepting Verdes. So for example, I talk about Pamela and the art school, but also we have, for example, Himbis, which is a English teacher accepting 20% Verdes. With him, this is the art school. La Tilichera, which is another part of the circular economy committee. And it's like a place where you can barter, so you can take secondhand stuff and they give you Verdes. We have Wild Cultures, which accepts 10% on Verdes. So it's really interesting because having being in touch with these like smaller businesses or informal workers, you realize how the local currency can be managed depending on people's needs, right? So it's really interesting that someone is like accepting 20% Verdes, and we have a yoga teacher that is accepting 100% Verdes for the yoga classes. So it's really interesting, and we're learning that of course the currency belongs to the community, and they will use it how they need to use it, right? Carla?
Just a quick comment, because, and I always say this to everyone in Cambiatus. We do these things, the social currencies and Cambiatus and the web, and it's so not natural to us that we think that is, but what Irene is describing is actually pretty cool, and it's probably the hardest step for any social currency, not only talking about the ones that are built using Cambiatus, I mean in general, which is having local businesses, actual businesses, accepting the currency. Usually what happens is that individuals use the currency and accept it. And it's really hard to convince local businesses to accept it on premises, officially, right, and publicly. So this is a really big step. And the fact that you can go to Monteverde and pay for a coffee with Verdes in the coffee shop is fantastic. So my question will be for you, because you're talking about this. Why they decided to do it, these local businesses, and what are also the challenges making them, or the challenges looking for new businesses?
Well, right now we have like proper local businesses, like a restaurant, which is Taco Taco, and we have a vet clinic, which is a mountain vet, and Café Monteverde, which is accepting Verdes for coffee with milk and black coffee. And I believe these people is accepting Verdes in pure solidarity, because we are not giving them right now, we are not giving them probably what they need. Of course, something I don't know, I was really stressed at the beginning, because I was thinking, okay, what a veterinarian needs, right? Or what a restaurant owner needs. But then I realized you can use Verdes not necessarily to fill up like for example, a restaurant needs vegetables, right? But at the beginning, I was thinking, okay, how can I find someone who can sell vegetables to Taco Taco for Verdes? And then I realized they not necessarily need to use the Verdes for buying vegetables. Maybe they can use the Verdes to give them to the employees, and the employees can use them for other stuff, right? So it's like a bonus to the employees, for example. And right now, I think that's our main challenge, making people understand, and local businesses understand that Verdes is not necessarily a way to fill the necessities, like the physical necessities of the physical business or the products they're selling, but they can use them to encourage their employees, or to give them an opportunity to, I don't know, have yoga classes. That is yoga, for example, for me is wellness, is related to wellness, but not everyone has the money to pay yoga classes, for example. So that happened in the coffee shop. The manager there asked her boss if she could use Verdes to pay the English classes with Himbis. So it was really interesting. It was, for me, she's an example, because it was her idea. I never talked to her about it, how she could use Verdes. She just talked to her boss, and her boss said, yeah, of course, use the Verdes. So she was paying with her own money the English classes, but the 20% with the Verdes from the coffee shop. So it was really cool, because I think local businesses can do that, right? I believe people sometimes think Verdes have to fill all the basic needs they have, but there's a lot of creative ways you can use Verdes, and the way you can save your colones or your dollars to pay other stuff, right? So I think the ownership of the currency is one of our bigger challenges, because usually people is expecting Janelle and I and Kelly and Michelle, which is which are the other girls helping us with the Verdes. They're waiting for us to create the opportunities of exchange, and we're trying to encourage people that they can use Verdes without our permission. You can use Verdes with your neighbors or at your school or at your workplace, right? So this is one of our biggest challenges, and that's why I'm not trying to focus a lot on the local businesses, but in the smaller businesses, because I really believe that when you encourage the smaller ones, the big ones will want to participate at some point organically. So yeah, I don't know if that answer your question.
Totally.
And yeah, well, just quickly, I just want to share, this is this is managed by the community garden. They are doing this workshops about, for example, this is seeds and soil, and they are receiving Verdes. They are giving Verdes away to the people that is participating. This is free workshops for the community, but they can earn Verdes just by participating. So that's really, really nice. And yeah, for example, this is one of the people who's working with us, but not all the time. This is a guy who has like a vegetable shop in the downtown Santa Elena, and sometimes he has overproduction of their stuff at his finca. So, for example, he has like lettuce and arugula, I don't know the name in English. He has overproductions, so he was selling these greens with Verdes, just so they don't go on waste, which is really nice. Here is Ranulfo and Carla. This is a video. I guess I have photos here. This is the community garden. We help with cleaning the place. It used to be a bull rings, which is really cool as well, because for me it represents a lot how a place where there's animal abuse now it's a place where people is growing food. So for me it's really nice. And this is the event we had with Carla and Ranulfo when we reintroduced the currency to the community. So we had like a shared brunch. And yes, I don't know, I can talk forever about Verdes.
I think Karin had a question.
Okay, I cannot see, sorry, I cannot see all the people because of the share screen. But yeah.
Yeah, it was more of a comment. I've been wanting to ask since the beginning of the talk is, how did you get people physically coming to these things, right? This is a digital thing that you've launched, and it was in a time when people couldn't really get together physically in the same way. And so how did you let people know? But then you spoke about these incentives and saying that there are small businesses who are doing this in solidarity. And I think that should never be underestimated. Mm-hmm. You know, it's you go to a lot of trouble to make sure that there are incentives for everybody. And I think that that's important. But then also is when people do join in solidarity is take that and go with it, because it is as important. And what they need may not be these physical things, but they need to belong in a community that contains both their customers and their employees. And that sense of belonging is being a part of this. And so it may not be something that's physically in exchange, but it's something that is a byproduct of the fact that you're building this community. And so, yeah, I just want to congratulate you on that, is getting people to join for that reason, because I think it does reflect how people see this initiative in the community, which I think is really, really important. And also, I really like how you have continued to work on this program post pandemic, or as post pandemic as we can be. And this idea of saving your fiat money for other things and using Verdes for some things, is that it really speaks to this idea of a complementary currency as opposed to just replacing an existing currency. And there'll be busy times and there'll be less busy times.
Yeah, it's true. Thank you very much for your words.
I think Karin got a really important point, the counter-cyclical effect, the idea that when it was most needed the most, Verdes was there. And now that people don't need it much, it's okay. That's okay, right? And maybe in the future, because we know prices are around the corner, in the near future, they will strongly need it again. So I think I love how you are reinventing it for these like kind of down times, and to just to recognize that's fantastic. I think Thomas had a question, and also I think Caribe, maybe in that order.
Thanks very much for sharing, Irene. And it's interesting, this question about, and Janelle, I'm interested in this question about the businesses and how to engage them. It does seem to me that the key is to find a way that the businesses can distribute the Verdes back to their employees. So then I wonder about whether in some form of bonus or payment or incentive. So there's kind of two ways I was thinking about that just listening to you. One is recruiting finding out what the employees want. And you may have been thinking along in that direction already. And I know that the Red Cross, when they were working in Kenya, they did a thing where their alternative currency, it just was focused in allowing people buy basic commodities in the business. So something like flour or milk, just one commodity would be purchased in whatever business. So you need to get two sides of the coin. I think one is get the businesses to sell something in Verdes, which is very common, and helps people individually then as buyers save their fiat currency for other things and buy a basic item at the shop. I think that's a nice idea for an individual to do. But then in that business, they could distribute the Verdes to their employees, and the employees would see Verdes as something useful. And perhaps recruiting those employees into Verdes as into the environmental and other objectives that you want, those that are interested, so they could learn more Verdes. So I don't know whether I'm just thinking out loud, have you thought along those lines? We're a step back in the agricultural community in Ethiopia, I think, because we neither started in the full lockdown like you did. We were inspired to start it by COVID, but we didn't start it in the full lockdown. So we don't have this very strong, start in a downturn, not needed so much next, which is really a unique kind of challenge to take on. But anyway, my thoughts are about what are you thinking about along those lines. I think some of the ideas that you have are really probably where a lot of progress can be.
Yes, thank you. And yeah, of course, we have talked with businesses, and is the same problem is that I believe people feel they have to accept Verdes all the time, every day, right? And we are trying to explain people and to make people understand that they can accept Verdes just 1 hour of the day, once a week, if they want to. So this is it's a challenge maybe because the local businesses, a lot of them buy stuff from outside Monteverde. It's not just local stuff. Of course, with local products is easy because you can talk with the person who is producing them, but you can pay Verdes to the people outside Monteverde. So yeah, it's a little bit of the logistics. I think it's completely possible because another thing we're trying to do is connecting with people from another local currencies in the world. And actually, if there's someone here that wants to join a WhatsApp group, we are creating like a small space where we can exchange ideas. So you can reach to me if you want to participate. And yes, I think it's completely possible. It just needs a little bit of logistics and people understanding Verdes is not coming to replace the dollars of colones, right? But yeah, I believe your ideas are great, and of course we are going to take them in consideration in our next meeting because any ideas you have are welcome. Really, I don't know, more brains thinking. It's better than just one or two. Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Jane. Victor.
Yeah. First of all, Irene and Janelle, congrats on what you're doing. We're very inspired by that, and we're trying to do similar things as you guys, but you are further ahead. So definitely, I would be one of the ones that I would definitely like to be more involved in and help thinking through and brainstorming on some things that we can join forces and try to solve similar problems. And I agree 100% with Corinne and Thomas. And sometimes we don't realize how difficult it is to implement a social currency in a new alternative type of currency. And we're dealing with, I think the hardest part is to bring the first one. And you are already bringing businesses and that. And similar to if one person has a phone, but he doesn't have a second one to call, but the second one will increase the network effect. And the third one will increase that even more. So each business that you bring in, you be sure that the network effect is compounding and it's going to grow exponentially as you have 10, 20. And the first ones are the hardest ones to get. And if you have like 3, it's already 4 or 5, it's already a huge progress building that power in the network. And having businesses, we're trying first to have people and trying to create utility to our own token within our ecosystem. And I think the sense of belonging to a community, that's going to be very important for people to hold Verdes and not only think that that's just a replacement of their local currency that they can exchange for goods, but also that they are part of a community that they can go to and they are helping the environment or they are helping the community become more resilient in times of need. I think the whole concept of like a macro view that I'm not only going to hold Verdes if I can exchange for fruits or vegetables, but I'm holding because I believe in something that is much bigger. And I'm part of a community of people that really wants to make a change and bring a change. I think that's what's going to bring more and more people to the Verdes community. And it's going to help even more business to adopt to the new currency because it does require a different mindset and a change in the paradigm. And it's really, we are used to systems, we're used to old ways of buying and using currencies, and now we need people that already understand and believe in something different. And we are starting through that journey, and Carla has been a great source of knowledge in that. And you guys, what you're doing also inspires us. In Brazil, we're creating a currency for people from the favelas, from very, very underserved areas in Brazil, and through games. So as they play blockchain games, they earn a token from play, and they can exchange that from services that I provide, like blockchain stuff, like consulting, or someone else can provide basic food or organic products. So we are creating that marketplace internally from people to people, but we want businesses to also sponsor that. And with ESG, we're sure that their consumers will put some pressure, their investors will put some pressure, and when the time is right, they're going to come into these communities and these alternative currencies, and we're sure about that. But we are the ones that are initiating that process. It's definitely the hardest thing is just to get this started and get the inertia out, and then after a while, I think it's gonna move much faster. But congrats, and I'll definitely be one to connect with you all and try to solve some of these problems together.
Thank you.
Thank you, Caribe. Yeah, and you're doing a fantastic job in Play for Change. Hey, any other question, comments? We are reaching the end of the session now. Last question, last comment. Who wants to say
Can I say something?
Please, Mahi there. Welcome.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Madar from Ethiopia, from Agelgel community. Thank you so much. You inspired Aaron. Thank you so much. We get a lot of ideas from you. So I'm thinking of my community, how to add some points from you. It's really inspired us. Thank you. I think it's to stimulate the local community. You encourage the small business owners. So it's good opportunity for the small business owners in your area, so they can grow each other. And meanwhile, after sometimes they can, grow each other. So it's good for local economy. It stimulates the local economy. I see those things from your community. Yeah, thank you so much. I just want to encourage. I encouraged by your words. Yeah, so I will share you in the future my community, agricultural community. You will say something on that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Mahider, and everyone. Just quickly before closing, I think we have actually, Mahider already said that, but we are going to have a conversation with Ayo. And I'm looking here the date. It's going to be March, if I'm not mistaken, or April. Let me see. Ayo. Open session, it will be April 21st. That will be our open session with Mahider and the team from Ethiopia. So if you want to get to know them better, stay tuned. Okay, so we, Verdes, Janelle and Irene, you shared a lot of really juicy, important elements about Verdes. I just want to do a quick recap before closing. You talk about launching a currency in a desperate situation, which really worked beginning, and the challenge also to change the context, the changing context over time. You also talk about this counter-cyclical effect, right? The currency being used in one times and less in others. Share your fantastic stories about the community kitchen, the fair, the marketplace, the idea of onboarding new businesses, the challenges of people owning the currency, understanding how to use it, understanding how to connect with it. And you also invited people to join the WhatsApp group that you're building. So anyone interested, please get in touch with Irene to join the WhatsApp group with other complementary currencies around the world. Thank you. That the number is on the chat. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. And we will see each other in the next session. We will do a quick checkout round. We have 2 minutes, and you get to say one word. How you feel at the end of the session. And I'm saying my word is pumped. Janelle.
Oops. Solidarity.
And you nominate one? The next one?
Sorry, Victor.
I feel very motivated to go back to my community and apply some of the things that I'm learning with you guys. So Thomas, you're next.
Thomas, your checkout word.
Thanks, Caribe. Very excited, I must say. It's great to hear, what you've achieved in Verdes, and great to realize that there's so much in common in the challenges and the motivations that we share. Play for Change and Verdes and in Agelgo. It's fantastic. So thank you very much. Us to carry on.
Full of hope. Passing to Luca.
Proud to be part of this. I'll pass to Irene.
I feel really grateful. And I pass to Mahider. Mahider.
Yeah, you are right. I feel inspiration. Yeah.
And I think the last one is Enrique.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you all. Have a fantastic day, afternoon, night, week. See you all.
Thanks,
Goodbye.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.
See ya,
Thank
Pura
you.
Vida.